Hi, Carlos.
Hi, Julia. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thank you. How are you? Finally, we can have this call. It was, really difficult to catch you and to get this interesting impressions about permissionless. And I know that you have very extensive experience in banking and financial service, more than 20 plus years, and you work at with venture capital services like a scout and attended this conference, Permissionless. It was second one, so excited to hear your impressions. And actually, is this really so big? Like it was launched over the social media and it was just second one. So can you please share your impressions? At least we can start from the first day.
Sure, absolutely. So I can give you a right off the bat summary of my impressions. So Permissionless number two that happened in Austin, Texas, was less crowded as last year Permissionless number one that happened in Miami. So if you want to take a contrarian approach, this could be the bottom of the industry, right? In terms of attendance and in terms of, in terms of attendance, basically, right? You could easily find like a place to sit and a lot of opportunities to network with people. So this could be basically the bottom based on that impression only, right? What you have to understand is there was the general panel, right, in which they talk about general topics, and then there were four very distinct sub-segments that you could go at your will, right? One of them was institutional, the other was cultural, the other was very technical driven, and the other was the future of banking, right? And they also gave me a good idea of where we are going, where we stay. There were a panel of NFTs. NFTs right now is languishing right now for activity, but still is pretty much focused on art, right? I attended a panel in the gaming industry too. I mean, the consensus there is like, yes, we still need to come up with games that that get a lot of traction, right? Like basically developing a game takes like $100 million and 3 years to develop, right? Yeah, so that's what I would say. Now, in terms of the first day, right? So basically, the main organizers of this permissionless two event were the founders of Blockworks and some other sponsors, of course. So everything started by setting expectations, basically. So Permissionless 2, basically, after these crazy events that happened with SBF and FTX scandal, Terra Luna, I mean, they positioned the event as a renaissance of the industry, right? And then they set expectations like we should focus on security, on scalability. We were supposed to exploit mature more maturity in ecosystems. Solana has a lot of to work here. And so then it came Eric Borges, right? Eric Borges is more like a libertarian philosopher of the industry. So he positioned the event like a aligned to the American values, right? Like a radical, revolutionary, rebellious, a very American trend, right? And basically question how currently basically capital flows and labor is permission as compared to permissionless platform in DeFi, right? Also has a strong words towards the SEC as an agency that basically has really misbehaved in the sense that not providing regulatory clarity other than enforcement actions, right? And basically, I mean, he focused on that. The main takeaways of the conference overall were like the industry is making progress in terms of regulation, but I mean, 50% the speakers were like optimistic, the other 50% were pessimistic, or they were saying more like it's gonna be a uphill battlefield, uphill basically battle, and then it's gonna take long time that the USA can risk to lose leadership in the industry, right? Meaning that other geographies that have openness and better regulatory clarity, they can steal this positioning from USA, right? I'm talking about basically Asian markets, most of the time, right? Other thing is like the other point of conversation was, for example, like we already have super apps in the industry, right? Like people were doubting, okay, do we have adoption or adoption? Do we? I mean, what part of the adoption curve we are, right? Some people were saying, no, we still need adoption, or we don't still have super apps. But the bottom line is like we do have super apps. The apps are basically Bitcoin. The other apps are like stable coins. Ethereum has matured enough as ecosystem, and now there are a lot of roll-ups. There is an interesting ecosystem called Cosmos also that is kind of an orchestration platform for many applications in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? So the other thing is like institutions are there. I mean, but institutions are not there to trade NFTs or native tokens, right? They are there to extend the digital identity of their assets. So there is a clear distinction here. Like institutions are here to trade their assets, right? So then I would say that in the future, the developers have to make sure that they offer solutions for two markets, right? For the institutional market, and also to make bridges and points of entry between DeFi and what institutions want to accomplish, right? But however, due to the lack of regulations as well, I mean, institutions are not growing as much as they would like to, right? The third point is basically because we already have super apps in crypto, in DeFi. Now the industry has to focus on user experience, right? So this goes along to the idea of adoption, right? Like right now, the people that are in DeFi are savvy people, right? Technically, somehow they know how to handle staking platforms and wallets. I mean, but if you really want to have massive adoption, then you need to not care about. So the average user is not supposed to care about, right? So in that sense, now the next step it would be like what platform are offering a seamless experience, a user interface that makes sense, that basically entice the adoption and don't need a tech savvy to work on, right? Like it's just the average people, right? So this is basically where the industry is positioned, right?
Okay, so you have shared that this is a challenge in to make seamless experience for users, and it sounds like many speakers and sessions were related to this. So what do you think, what they say? Is this like nearest future or is very challenging? How make users to understand all this, crypto application? Because I know with experience sometimes can be really difficult to them. So what they say and what is your forecast and vision?
Well, I mean, I would say that the user experience will come in time. So I think that everybody get the message from the conference that now the efforts have to be focused on bringing a better experience for users if they really want to cause more adoption, right? Yeah, that will happen in time. Yeah.
And why you think this happens? Why it didn't happen before?
Well, because I mean, I would say like when you develop it has to do with the way that the venture capital cycle works, right? Like you want to have a great idea, a disrupting technology, a good product. And when you develop the roadmap of a product, I mean, one of the first things that you think about is about you focus on the problem that you are trying to solve, right? And sometimes user experience is pushed towards the end, right? Like a user experience sometimes is more like a, unless you're Apple, right? Apple are well known for being like a, and this is outside crypto as well, right? But you think about a very well designed product, Apple
Mhm.
beats everybody, right?
Mhm.
Whenever they launch, especially in the times of Steve Jobs, right? But if you think about a nascent technology, a nascent industry such as crypto, I mean, they want to create an MVP, and then I would say that they would push back the user experience towards the end, right? But right now, the industry is maturing, and then you want to generate and cause more adoption. So it makes sense that now the efforts from the platforms and applications be focused now on user experience more than solving a problem, because I mean, crypto already is solving many problems, right? Like we have already apps that are solving cross-border payments, lending, transfers, gaming. So they are in many spaces already. So now the point has come in which they had to develop better user experience, right? To attract more, more users, right?
Mhm. Especially in the current competitive market.
Correct. Then the next event that I attended was related to the roadmap for it from Ethereum, right? They are very focused. Ethereum is basically the second crypto, right? Following Bitcoin in terms of market cap, right? So the conversation was developed based on scalability and security of the platform, on how to bring the transactional cost and the cost for data availability, right? There was another more technical session related to restaking that involves leverage as well. And they were talking about the converging of evolution, right? And this is when Cosmos set up the stage, right? Like a Cosmos is more like a open-minded kind of platform, and orchestrating a ecosystem that helps developing more applications. They have some political views that basically allow constituents of communities to integrate blockchain and artificial intelligence, and allow basically communities to remain sovereign, and also allow interoperability within the Ethereum ecosystem, right? There were some words coming from Solana, lessons learned, for example, and then we jump out on the trade-off, right? They were talking about the sacrifices that had to happen between considering bandwidth constraints versus scalability. Then the conversation was focused on the increased frequency of rollups, right? Also, they were talking about like how do you can keep the interoperability and give this to allows developers to develop more interoperability between several chains. Then the conversation was focused on security, how they can make more secure these chains and these applications.
Yeah, very. So what about this Cosmos? Because really it's like Cosmos sounds for me. And what they offer, what they shared in this conference, what is the
So,
difference?
yeah, so basically the Cosmos ecosystem, I mean, their conference were very technical, but in a nutshell, basically Cosmos is a blockchain platform that focuses on enabling interoperability between different blockchains, right? It could be within Ethereum, or it could be with other platforms such as Solana or other ecosystems, right? They're focused on interblockchain communications and allowed to communicate and transfer assets between these ecosystems and
So
chains, right?
yeah, it means if, for example, I have my Bitcoins and I want to send through Ethereum network, or what does it mean?
Yeah, exactly. Let's say that could be an example. Like you want to send us transfer assets between a blockchain, Bitcoin ecosystem and Ethereum, or for example, between Ethereum and Solana, right? So this is what happened, right? Like the current technical ecosystem is fragmented, right? When there is fragmentation in platform, you need an orchestrator right? That happens a lot also in technical consulting, which is a real from my experience, right? For example, in when you use too many platforms for banking, you need to have just to give an example, right? A single sign-off authentication process that connects to everybody. So otherwise, you will be signing on in many platforms every time that you want to use a platform, right? This is because the applications are fragmented to take care of certain parts of the business within banking, right? Same thing, coming back to the example of blockchain, right? There are so many platforms, there are so many ecosystems right now, and they have very good solutions in each of these ecosystems. But now you want you have a new business model, a new entrepreneur that wants to leverage these existing applications or solutions from different platforms, and then guess what? You need an orchestrator. This is Cosmos, basically. It's gonna help you put together what the entrepreneur wants to do, and then make it seamless and secure, scalable, so on and so forth.
Very interesting. I think it's really solving a problem.
Yes, this is basically solving a problem of fragmentation within a blockchain.
So what is what they promising? And
Well,
when?
they're promising a seamless experience, interoperability, security. They also their motto is also like the developer is going to have the power. The protocol is going to have the power, right? So the idea, the motto is that they want to give the power to the users and the developers, right? That's also another strong point of their business model,
You know, from the idea and you know, like technology interest and perspective, it sounds really exciting. And I have another question. Another question. I think in the current situation, actually for the US market, yeah, technologies and ideas, everything is good. But what about regulation? How all this, what you have shared, will be matching this current market? I just wondering, a lot of constraints.
Yeah, so I had the chance to attend to several. There were like three main events focused on regulations in this particular conference, right? I want to talk about one of them, and then I'll touch base in another conversation that we may have in others. So this one that I attended was basically there were members from the SEC, from the Blockchain Association, and basically it was an open discussion on what is the status of the regulations, right? And basically the common message was like there has been some progress. The policymakers are start understanding how the industry works, how the technology works. The courts in USA are giving good results, right? This is reflected in the results of Ripple and also Uniswap. But the consensus also is like the next 18 months is going to be a little bit rocky. Not bad, but rocky. It's going to be difficult the next 18 months, right, in terms of regulatory framework. There is more awareness, but if USA cannot accomplish like a more regulatory clarity, there is a serious risk that innovation in blockchain space will basically be taken by other geographies, right? I'm talking about Asia, basically, right? And what else? The other problem in this space is also political, right? Like the political elite basically is making decisions for the people, right? And the Congress is not making the regulations. So the main body that is supposed to issue regulatory framework from the industry is the Congress. But what we have is basically agencies, right? I'm talking about FTC, the Future Trade Commission, and the SEC, and they are not capable of issuing regulatory framework. What they do is, hey, I'm seeing a model that I don't like, then guess what? I'm gonna take an enforcement action, and then I'm gonna take you to court, right? And then we're gonna fight it. That's what's happening, right? So the industry needs to mature between being proactive to between they need to get away from being reactive and move towards a more proactive way of generating this regulatory framework, right? Also, I mean, there is pros and cons in the sense that the entrepreneurs in the industry need to spend a lot of time on understanding the current regulations, the current regulatory risk. So that is hampering innovation, right? However, in the future, they say they can make them more strong to develop better models, right? But at the end, this is something that entrepreneurs, I mean, should not be spending much time on, right? So yeah, so basically, I mean, the status, the state of the regulatory affairs is basically like we have the agencies are focusing on particular names, right? When you issue a regulatory framework, it has to be equal for everybody, right? But they are chasing Ripple, they are chasing particular protocols in the industry that they don't like, you know, for many aspects, right? And this also has to do with the situation that USA is basically the owner of the dollar. This is the international reserve. So of course they for one side, like traditionally America has supported innovation, but on the other side we have a very serious political conflict here, right? Like USA will try to defend the dollar, right? And basically they are seeing this more like a threat to the dollar, right? And that is why also the panel concluded like we should not focus on the technology per se, but also on the innovation, right? Do USA really wants to lose innovative edge in this in general or not, right? It's not about anymore the crypto industry of blockchain, right? It's about if as a policy USA wants to lose an innovative edge, right, versus others who rendering that, I think that's not gonna be reflecting good on USA, right? So that's basically it.
Do you think they understand or not that actually innovation, it is what can bring us like at the top? If, for example, this 1670 ages when innovations were related, you know, to the forces and go to the moon and all these technologies, yeah, it was different situation, but the same. Who will be the first and who will launch the first these innovations?
Yeah, so there was another takeaway from this regulatory panel, right, that focus on advocacy, on raising awareness and education to the regulatory body in the Congress, right? What we have to understand is the Congress are basically very senior boomers, right? Like you need to educate them how the technology works. You need to sell them that this is about innovation, right? It's not anymore as a threat to the dollar, right? Because this is what they are thinking, right? Like, oh, this can hamper, you know, the dollar hegemony or whatever, right? Which is an understandable concern, right? But at the same time, there is a lack of education, there is a lack of advocacy. So the message here was like the crypto industry needs to develop the advocacy group in a very more strong way, right? So that was another takeaway, right? We will lose innovation edge, right? We were going to surrender that to other countries, right? I'm talking about China, Taiwan, you know, Singapore, right? To those, and then innovation is going to flock at least in this particular industry over there, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. How would you call this first day? What is the main message of your first day?
Well, I mean, it was basically a call for action, right? A call for action. It was a nice. They provide a nice status of the technology and the industry. It was a call for action as well.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you, Carlos, very much, and hope we will have a next session because we have 2 more days to discuss.
Sure, absolutely. My pleasure, Julia.
Thank you.